Hi everybody, welcome back to Weekend Wandering. I want to go through some things today that you should consider if you are looking at buying a Soul Horizon. We have had ours for over 2 years now and I absolutely love it, but there are some things that you need to know if you are looking at getting one of these. Let's get into it. All right, first things first is the tongue weight. This is actually a pretty tongue heavy trailer for, you know, a camper of this size. With the two 20-pound propane tanks, I think empty, they said it was 524 pounds or something like that for the dry weight of the tongue. So with both propane bottles full, we're looking at close to 600 pounds with it loaded. And for a trailer that is under 4,000 pounds fully loaded, that's a lot of weight for the tongue. There are some things that you can do, like have a weight distribution hitch, and also how you situate items when you're traveling in your trailer. That will help to kind of relieve some pressure off of your vehicle. Now, if your vehicle can handle this as far as the cargo carrying capacity, you should be fine. You typically want to have most of your weight in front of the axle of your trailer, so a more tongue-heavy trailer, in my opinion, really helps with sway, especially if you don't have a weight distribution hitch. I could not have a weight distribution hitch on my last car because it was a unibody chassis. So with my next car, I might be getting one. I need to make sure that I can put one on my next one. There are things that you can do to help distribute the weight if you cannot have a tongue-heavy trailer. A couple of quick things when it comes to distributing the weight. This is all going to depend on how you're traveling for your trip, what all your trailer is equipped with. We do currently have the outdoor kitchen on our Horizon, and it seems like it's pretty heavy, so when the griddle is back there and when we have the 12-volt cooler back there, that definitely, you know, adds weight to the back. So I'm gonna go over a couple of things on how we may situate items when we are traveling based on what we are carrying with us. So let's go inside. Okay, so if we are traveling, let's say to our lake house, when we take the camper up there, we don't have any running water at our lake house, which is why we take the camper. It's just more comfortable and we can actually have a bathroom, a sink, and all of that stuff. So we will have to fill up the water tank, which is under the bed, which is at the back of the trailer. So when you are putting more weight on the back of the trailer, you are going to typically have more sway. So in that case, what we will do is put stuff low to the ground on the floor and more towards the front. Even though it's a tongue-heavy trailer, when you fill up this water tank, you can feel it in the back. So you want to try to put everything, let's see, the wheels are kind of like right here in front of the bed. So you want to put most stuff in front of the axle when you have your water tank full. If we are traveling with an empty water tank, I will try to put most stuff right on top of the axle, right here on the floor, and then I'll put some lighter weight stuff on the floor or in the dinette area when we're traveling. And that really does help to, you know, eliminate some sway, or we have very, very little sway. The only time I've really experienced sway is on the interstate, when people are flying past me. And it doesn't have to be, you know, really big semi-trucks. It can be, I mean, a minivan passes me and it'll sway a little bit, but it's never been bad. I do not have sway bars and I do not have a weight distribution hitch, so it's not really that big of a deal. It is scary when it happens, just because you don't know at what point it starts to get out of control, but that's just some stuff to consider whenever you are going to pack down this trailer. Oh, Copper. Come on, baby. So after, okay, crazy. Sit. That's a good boy. Yes, that's a good boy. You're so cute. So after you buy your Soul Horizon, there are things that you're going to also need to purchase, yes, in order to have a successful outing. Now there's obviously a list of must-haves and a list of nice-to-haves. So let me get these dogs out of my face and we'll go through that list. Unless you are buying a used trailer from someone else and they are just giving you everything that they bought to go with it, these are the things that you're going to need to get. You're going to need an electrical cord, a 30 amp electrical cord, a water hose, a sewer hose, chocks, leveling blocks, and a level. I would say these are at the very minimum the things that you should buy for the camper just to get started. Now, in the nice to have category, some of these I just say it's a must have for me, but this is going to depend on you and your usage. I like to have an adapter or a dog bone. And what that is I can use my 30 amp cord to plug into a regular 15 amp cord, or whatever it's called, just a regular extension cord to plug it into my house so I can run things off of my household outlet. Along with that, you need to have a contractor grade extension cord. You don't just want to have one of the skinny ones. You want it to be a thicker, you know, a thicker thing. Y'all know I don't do technical terms, okay? A good reason to have that adapter, dog bone, and that contractor grade cord is so that you can do mooch docking at someone's house or at your own house if you do kind of like how we do. This is our guest space whenever people come to visit us. Another good reason to have the adapter and dog bone, we have not come across this at any campgrounds, but sometimes they may only offer a 50 amp hookup, so you'll have to get the adapters to be able to go from 50 amp to 30 amp. This is a must-have for me, but it may not absolutely be a must-have for everybody, but a water filter that goes in, it's an inline water filter. You attach it to your hose, that way you have filtered water coming from the campground, whether you're putting it in your fresh tank or doing a city water connection. What's the difference between a city water connection and your water tank? If you have water hookups at your campsite, there's one port that just directly feeds into your lines and it's automatically pressurized. It is pressurized water versus using your water tank. You usually want to do this when you're boondocking or you're somewhere where you don't have water connections. So you will fill up your water tank before you head out on your trip, and there's a pump that's under the bed and it pressurizes the water for you so that you can use the sink, the shower, and the toilet. Some other nice to have items would be mats for outside at your campsite, especially if you have a sandy side or something. It's nice to have some mats to kind of help keep your area neat and tidy, and they're just cute. Chairs, I would put as a nice to have category. Most campsites are going to have a picnic table or something, or worst comes to worst, if you're taking a cooler with you, just sit on your cooler. But we like to have chairs with us. And then I'm also going to put this in the nice to have category because you don't have to stock your kitchen equipment in the camper. You could always just take all of your kitchen stuff from your house, put it in your camper, use it for the weekend or however long you're going to be gone, and then put it back in your house. That way, you don't have to go buy a bunch of new kitchen stuff if you don't want to. We did choose to get all of our kitchen items, bedding, everything that is specific for the camper. Just makes it easier. I like to try to simplify as much as I possibly can. Be sure to check out my kitchen video. I'll put it up here wherever it goes. And here's a little tip when it comes to buying all the accessories and things that you need to have a successful trip. Do not just go out and buy absolutely everything that you think you're going to need. Make a list of the absolute necessities and try to figure it out as you go. I think that everybody, when they first go to buy a camper, especially if it's their first camper ever, you get all excited and you make all your Amazon list, or you go to Walmart, Target, Hobby Lobby, wherever you like to go, and you just buy. It's fun, let's be honest, but you're more than likely going to find that you don't need everything that you just bought. So get the absolute necessities and then go out and just see what you need. You know, make a list. Write down like, hey, this is something that would make life easier when we're camping. And then you go out and buy it. Or go ahead and look it up on Amazon while you're there, put it on a wish list, and buy it when you can. This is a good time to figure out what your must-haves are and what your nice-to-haves are. And sure, everyone's input and advice can be really valuable, but what works great for someone else may not work great for you. For example, I bought a moonshade to go over my outdoor kitchen area. I love it, it's really valuable to me, but it may not be a good fit for you. You may just go buy something cheaper at Walmart or Academy, you know, a little easy up canopy. That's gonna be much cheaper than a moonshade, and if it's not a big pain in the butt for you to set up, then that's great. That is what's gonna work best for you. There's lots of great products out there, but try to figure out what works best for you before you just go spending all this money on stuff. Knowing what all can and cannot run off of your house battery. So you either have a house battery if you were going to be boondocking, or you have shore power. Shore power is when you actually have an electrical connection to plug your cord up into. And with that, you can run everything. But these are the things that you can only run on your battery. USB and 12 volt, that can run off of your battery. Microwave cannot run off of battery. Your radio can run off of battery. All the lights in the camper can run off of battery. Regular household outlets cannot run off of battery. Your sink can run off of battery as long as you have water in your fresh tank and you turn on the water pump to pressurize the line. You have your water heater that can run off of gas. You cannot run the water heater off of electric unless you are plugged into shore power. So you're going to have to use the propane in order to run it off of your battery. The fridge. This fridge can run off of shore power, propane, or battery, but you do not want to run this off of battery. It is going to drain your battery really fast. So if you are boondocking, you want to put it on propane. I have seen in a recent video that they have different refrigerators, so I don't know that the new refrigerators can run off of propane. So you need to figure that out depending on what model is coming in your unit. Toilet. It can run off of battery because it just uses the water pump. Same thing with the shower. This fan can run off of battery. This fan can run off of battery. Again, all of the lights can run off of the battery. The TV cannot, and the air conditioning cannot. And then you can run the furnace off of propane, which also uses a little bit of battery. Now, if you get the 12 volt refrigerator that goes on the outdoor kitchen, it technically can run off of battery, but in my experience, it drains the battery really fast. I just have a regular, I think it's a lead acid battery. I don't know all the battery stuff very well, but I have the battery that came with the unit. It is not lithium, I know that much, and it does not last long. If you are going to be doing a lot of boondocking, for those of you who don't know what boondocking is, it is where you are camping without any electrical hookups, water hookups, or sewer hookups. You're just running off of the battery. So if you are going to be doing a lot of that, you're going to want to get at least some lithium batteries. And then you need to have a way to recharge those batteries. Whether it's solar panels or a generator, you're going to want to have something. We have done some boondocking in this trailer. We usually will take a generator with us or the solar panels. I do not have an inverter. I don't even have lithium batteries. So that is something that I would like to do in the future when it is within our budget. I'd like to get a couple of lithium batteries. Maybe I'll get an inverter for it. What the inverter does is it will allow you to turn that power into regular power. So you can use your household outlets, the regular plugs. You could possibly use your microwave. I am not an expert on this. You need to talk to an electrician or someone who is experienced with that kind of stuff if you are interested in doing that. But when we have taken this camper out on boondocking trips, the battery does not last long. And I'm also very, very careful with how I use things. I do not leave lights on in here, you know, all night or anything like that. I try to just keep the lights off, or maybe just turn one light on if Cricket is in here. I actually have some solar lanterns, and I'll usually put those in here just to save on the battery. And then we will usually try to run this fan. And then I do have a little, another 12 volt fan for if we're going to be boondocking, because my regular Vornado fan will only work on shore power. If I am not recharging every night, then my battery is just about dead by morning. And I may have damaged my battery, so a new battery is probably going to be in our near future, probably in the next year or so. But we'll see what happens, because we are currently trying to get another car, so our budget is... The Soul Horizon has a wet bath. What is a wet bath? If you are unfamiliar with this terminology, a wet bath is where the shower and the toilet is all in the same room together, versus a dry bath in some campers, usually in larger campers, where the toilet and the shower are separated from each other. So in this bathroom, everything is going to get wet. They do have something to help cover the toilet paper so that that doesn't get wet. You want to remove any items out of there that you don't want to get wet. But I feel like it's a very spacious wet bath for the size of the trailer. We have taken showers in it. Typically now we will just go to the shower house at a campground just to make life easier, but I don't mind showering in here if it's more convenient. Now here's a little tip. If you're planning on primarily boondocking in your Soul Horizon, I would suggest switching out your toilet for a composting toilet or something similar, a dry flush, whatever. Do not go to the bathroom in this toilet before doing this if this sounds interesting to you. Turn it into a dry flush or a composting toilet. Do not use this as a black tank. Make it a gray tank only. That way, if you are permitted to dispose of your gray water wherever you're camping, that's going to make life so much easier. You don't have to find a dump station. All you're having to deal with is gray water and then whatever toilet system you decide to use for your waste. If I would have thought about this before actually peeing and pooping in this toilet, then I would have loved to have done this. And the great thing about it is if you can afford to do this, you can always switch it back if you really don't think that it's that convenient for you. Humidity is the devil. That's why I keep a dehumidifier in here, and I pretty much have to use it all the time. Now this is going to depend on your climate, where you live. If you live in a drier climate, you may not have this issue unless you are camping in cold weather and you're needing to use your furnace to heat the place up. But here in Georgia, we deal with humidity like crazy. So even on our last camping trip where it got pretty cool at night, we had all of the windows open while we slept, but we still woke up and there was condensation on all of the windows and the walls. So unfortunately, we could not use this since we were boondocking, and this requires shore power to run off of. So you can get things like damp rid. There's all kinds of other ways that you can dehumidify your camper, but you want to have some way to dehumidify so that you don't run into mold issues in the future. Along the same lines of dehumidifying and trying to fight mold problems in the future, you want to have some way to elevate the mattress off of its platform. There's not a lot of space for airflow to get under that mattress, so you want to have something that's going to help assist you with that. We chose the Froley system. There's a video that I have on that too if you want to see more on that. It is a pricey system, but it does add comfort. There are cheaper options that other people use and they're very happy with. So again, do your research and see what's going to work best for you. I will leave a couple of links in the description below for the other things that I have seen other Soul Horizon users use. I have not used them myself, so I cannot, obviously speak to them, but they have used them and they've enjoyed them. I love my Froley system and I highly recommend it. So if you are looking at a Soul Horizon, you already know it is a 19-foot trailer, and that is tongue to tip. So your living space is even a little bit smaller. However, they have done a really good job with the floor plan. I feel like it's pretty roomy for the size camper that it is. So it's no secret that this is a tight space. So you have got to try to find some sort of system. Try to find a system that works for you as far as how you organize. This is going to more than likely take several trips to figure out. Make notes on what is working and what is not working and how you can solve those problems. And when you go looking at campers at dealerships, keep in mind that you are looking at a completely empty trailer for the most part. So it's very easy to go, oh my gosh, there's so much room. And there is. But when you start to put your belongings in here and bodies and animals, that space is going to feel a little bit smaller. So this is where a good organizing system comes into play. I am still trying to figure out good systems, and I feel like every time I take the camper out, I find something that I'm like, all right, this needs to move here, this is gonna go here and work better. And actually today, when I get done recording this video, I'm going to Walmart, I'm gonna grab some things, and I'm going to spend the rest of the day reorganizing and moving things around to see if some other things may work better. My goal is to try to spend as little time cleaning and tidying up when I'm on my trips. The reality is, nothing is ever going to be perfect, but this is a tight space and it is going to seem smaller the more stuff that you put in here. Our area gets messy quick because, one, we're just messy people. We just throw our stuff everywhere. And two, we usually travel with at least a bird and sometimes 3 dogs, and that will clutter up the space really quick. So having a system helps with that. I'm going to be making notes today on like, all right, this is what I'm going to do when we're taking the dogs. This is where this is going to go. You know, things will change for every single trip too, based on what we are doing, who is traveling with us, and all of that fun stuff. So along those same lines of having a tight space, storage can be challenging, again, depending on how you travel. We do a lot of weekending. Every now and then we may do a week-long trip in the camper. We haven't had much of an issue. The biggest issue that we have had is when there's just stuff cluttering up the counters. It's the miscellaneous items that I have the biggest problem with. And that's where I need to figure out a really, really good, efficient system for us. We haven't really had a problem with storage as far as our clothes go. I do have a video that goes over that if you want to check that one out. But we are figuring out where to stick random miscellaneous items. And in reality, it's okay that I have to tidy up a little bit every day. It doesn't take that long. But if I can dwindle my time down from a 15-minute cleanup to a 5-minute cleanup, that would make life so much easier. And I can spend more time doing things like paddleboarding, you know, riding bikes, hiking a trail, just going out and doing fun stuff. Because that's what it's all about. It gets dirty really easily. And again, this all depends on your usage. If you're traveling with animals, do you take your shoes off as soon as you come in the door, or do you forget to do that and track dirt in? This is where I like to keep a broom in here. I keep a little vacuum in here. And I also have little rugs that go on the floor. And that really helps to minimize the dirt. So I can just open the door and shake them off whenever things get really dirty in here. And that's a good thing about having a smaller space is it doesn't take super long to clean up. I couldn't imagine if we had a huge fifth wheel. I'd probably spend half my day just cleaning because we're so messy and, you know, it's easy to track dirt in and out of these things. Finding a place to store shoes can be a challenge. Unless you do the Dinette mod, which I really would like to do sometime, I just don't know how I want to modify it. I'm torn between doing the drawer that I've seen people do, or just having a little square cut out so you can just kick your shoes off and stick them in there as you walk in the door. I don't really know what I want to do, but typically what we do is we come in, we try to remember to take our shoes off, and we'll either stick them right here, or if the dinette is made into a bed, we'll just stick them under the bed. I am looking at some options until I am ready to cut this. I'm looking at some options to maybe hang something right here on the side of this cabinet to just stick shoes in some pockets. I want something that isn't going to be a terrible eyesore, but I want something that is functional. So stay tuned and I'll show you if I decide to do that. And I'll definitely show you if we do this mod sometime in the future. The bed is an east to west bed, so it's also not a walk-around bed, so there's only so much room to get in and out of this space. It is a queen-size bed, but it can feel pretty tight back here where this cabinet is. It's fine for me and Johnny, but it's really just going to depend on you. If you're a claustrophobic person, maybe sleep on the outside. It's not that bad, but it is good to know that if you're going to be sleeping in this bed, if you're on the inside, either the person on the outside is going to have to get up and get out of the bed for you to get out, or you're gonna have to crawl over them. It's also a booger. It is a beast to make this bed, unless you have a really good system. I did decide to get the quick zip sheets, so I don't have to fight with going over the corners of the mattress. Yes, it is expensive, it's worth it to me. It all depends on what is worth it to you. Some people like spending a lot of money on some things, and other things they don't. I don't like spending a lot of money on clothes, but if it's something that's going to make my life easier, I'm going to spend good money on it. So quick zip, check out my video on that if you're interested. Another cheap option to make it easier so you aren't having to change sheets all the time, just put a little fitted sheet on it and then sleep in some sleeping bags. Then all you have to do is wash the sleeping bags. Know that for this camper, you're probably going to want to make some sort of modification, whether it's the drawer or the shoe cubby hole for the dinette or accessing under the bed. This is something that I want to do very soon. A lot of people have been putting gas struts so that it's easy to open up and access under the bed. That's where your water pump is. That's where you need to drain your lines for your fresh tank, your water heater, all of that stuff. So you're going to want to make modifications, and those things are going to cost money. Do they have to be done right away? No, but if it makes life easier, why not? Especially, I have a leaking water pump right now. So whenever I have to get under this bed to cover it up until we replace it, I hate it. So gas struts are going to be happening very soon to make getting under the bed a lot easier. Another thing that some people want to modify is the dinette area. I have talked about getting the Lagoon table mount for pretty much since I've had the camper. I haven't done it yet though, because we do have to turn this into a bed a lot of times now because we have 3 dogs. And if you use the Lagoon table mount, because they have changed the dinette setup, you can't use the table as a bed anymore. So I can get something like this, make a hard backing for the cushion. I need to do that. I just haven't done it yet. I'm a master of procrastination. So modifying something like that would be great. We'll see if I ever do the Lagoon table mount. I actually bought a knockoff version for like $10. I don't know how much they are on Amazon. I think it was an Amazon return. So I got that. I'm just nervous to do it, okay? I feel like I'm supposed to have the good one. I've seen reviews of the Amazon one, and I don't know how I feel about drilling holes and doing all of that and then finding out that I'm disappointed in it. So part of me wants to just buy the expensive one, the actual name brand one. And then another modification that I've seen people do is actually changing out the steps of the camper. If you have the Rover package, it is pretty high off the ground, and if you have a hard time stepping up, or if you're worried about falling, you might want to modify the steps to get either 2 steps or get a step stool under it. There's lots of different ways that you can do this. So like I said, you can replace the steps altogether to something better, more sturdy, something that has more than just 1 step. Or I have seen people just get a nice sturdy low to the ground footstool that they put right under the step so that they have 2 steps without actually having to modify the original step. One other thing, if you are contemplating getting the outdoor kitchen, maybe you're on the fence. So the griddle top is inside because I had to re-season it, and then our 12-volt fridge is also inside because we recently used it on a road trip. So I just haven't put it back in here yet. I'm actually very torn on whether or not I want to keep this. We have used it a lot. At first, we used it every single time we camped. But Johnny almost prefers just doing a stovetop with a cast iron skillet because he usually cooks steak or he's done hot dogs. We have like a Coleman single burner stove that also has a grill on the other side. So I don't know. I'm very, very torn on this. Part of me wants to kind of tear it out, try it as just storage. You know, still use the 12-volt fridge right here on trips where we think we're going to need it. And then if not, we can just use it as storage. You know, we can pack an extra camping stove or something like that. And we can still use this area as a cooking area, but we don't have to if we don't want to. So, I don't know. This is a good option for some. It's not for everyone. One other thing about this is, unless you buy an accessory for this that I've seen other people use, I just haven't bought one yet. It's kind of like a little splash guard that you can set up right here, because I'm going to show you, this gets pretty nasty from grease, and the way it looks now is actually after I have cleaned it. You see all that? I mean, I'm sure that I could get some steel wool and do a better job cleaning, but that's with me actually trying to clean it. So this area kind of gets a little nasty. So that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I want the stove here anymore. Overall, I am still so in love with my Soul Horizon. My dogs are also in love with my Soul Horizon. I don't see us getting rid of it anytime soon. The only thing that would make me want to get rid of this is if we could afford a nice motorhome, and it would still be a small motorhome. I love this camper so much. As I've said in a previous video, if you can rent one for a weekend, I would really recommend doing that. See how it works for you. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Hopefully I'm not, but I hope that this video helped you if you are considering buying the Soul Horizon. If you have any questions, please comment down below and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. If there's anything else in particular you would like to see a video on, also comment that down below and I will be sure to work on it for you. May not get it out super duper quick, but I'm trying my hardest to work on getting more videos out. It's very time consuming, you know that? Thanks for being here. I hope that this video helped you. Be sure to stay tuned. I'm going to show you some things that I'm working on to help reorganize it. It's either going to be in a long form or a short form video. I'm not really sure yet. I'm winging it, guys. Just seeing what works best and can get the information to you the fastest. So thanks for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.